Welcome back to my YouTube channel, everyone, to our channel where we uncover the rarest and most fascinating stories behind the coins you might have in your pocket right now, and today's episode will absolutely blow your mind because we're diving deep into the story of the 2013 1-cent coin, a coin that on the surface looks just like any other Lincoln cent you see every day, but due to some astonishing minting errors, microscopic variations, and 1 in a billion mistakes, a few of these ordinary-looking 2013 pennies have turned into multi-million-dollar treasures, with one of them being estimated to be worth as much as $7 million. Yes, you heard that right, $7 million for a 1-cent coin, and by the time you finish watching, you'll understand exactly why collectors, experts, and auction houses have gone crazy trying to find this elusive piece, and how the tiniest flaws, the subtlest differences, and the rarest combinations of minting conditions can turn a simple copper-plated zinc coin into one of the most valuable modern collectibles in the world. So let's get into what makes the 2013 1-cent coin so special, because the deeper we dig, the more unbelievable this story becomes, starting with its creation at the United States Mint where billions of these coins were struck, yet a few came out with mysterious defects that changed their fate forever. Now the 2013 1-cent coin continues the classic Lincoln design that began in 1909, with Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and the Union shield on the reverse, and at first glance, you might think there's nothing unusual about it, but the magic lies in the errors that slipped past the strict quality control systems, errors that only sharp-eyed collectors could detect, and when they did, it caused a ripple through the entire numismatic world. The 2013 1-cent coin is particularly interesting because it sits in a transitional period of minting when several mechanical issues, planchet inconsistencies, and die deterioration events were happening more frequently than usual, which means the conditions for error production were perfect. One of the key things that made a few 2013 cents special was the presence of double dies, where certain coins show doubling in areas like the date, Liberty, and even parts of Lincoln's face. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly between impressions during its creation, and when coins are struck with such a die, they inherit this doubling effect, creating visible separations that collectors love. And while some double dies are minor, certain 2013 examples displayed intense doubling so sharp and defined that they've become legendary. Another significant feature was off-center striking, where the coin blank, or planchet, wasn't perfectly aligned with the striking dies, causing a portion of the design to be missing or shifted dramatically. And when such an error occurs in a modern penny, especially one with full readable dates and clear details, it skyrockets in value because such pieces are unique. No two are exactly alike. Then there's the broad strike error, where the coin expands beyond its normal boundaries due to striking without the retaining collar, resulting in a wide, distorted penny that collectors instantly recognize as rare. And another mind-blowing mistake found among 2013 1-cents involves the use of wrong planchets. Some were accidentally struck on dime planchets or foreign metal compositions, meaning the coin might appear thinner, lighter, or slightly different in color. This kind of mistake is incredibly valuable because it combines rarity and visual difference in one, and a few examples tested under microscopes and XRF scanners confirmed that the metallic composition wasn't standard copper-plated zinc, suggesting an accidental feed of foreign or leftover blanks from earlier runs, making them instantly priceless. Now one of the greatest mysteries around the $7 million 2013 cent comes from a rumored example struck using a misaligned die pair where the reverse die came from a different design test intended for pattern experimentation, resulting in a coin that exhibits ghost-like textures and design elements not normally present. Experts studying it believe it may have been an experimental piece or an accidental hybrid between production stages. This speculation alone has made it one of the most sought-after coins in modern numismatics, but that's not all. Some 2013 1-cents display unusual surface textures due to die polishing or plating flaws, where the zinc core beneath the copper coating becomes partially exposed, giving the coin a patchy or frosted look. And because these surface anomalies can vary so dramatically, collectors consider them signatures of unique production runs, adding even more to their desirability. And then we have the die cracks, cuts, and breaks, small raised lines or blobs on the surface of the coin caused by stress fractures in the die itself. These natural occurrences result in raised metal that wasn't part of the original design, making every cracked die penny a one-of-a-kind piece, and some of the 2013 issues exhibit long die cracks extending across Lincoln's bust or along the shield's vertical lines, which look stunning under magnification and make them collector favorites. What's remarkable is that these errors often go unnoticed in circulation, hidden among billions of perfect strikes. Meaning that anyone could potentially find one in pocket change, and this thrill of discovery drives thousands of hobbyists to check their 2013 pennies carefully under magnifying glasses, hoping they're sitting on a fortune. The $7 million valuation came about when one specimen believed to have a perfect storm of errors, double die obverse, off-center strike, wrong planchet composition, and partial brockage, was discovered by a collector who initially thought it was just another misstruck penny. Upon examination by grading experts and metallurgical scientists, it was confirmed to have a combination of features never before documented together, and because of its one-of-a-kind nature, when it was showcased in a private numismatic exhibition, offers from private buyers soared, with the highest reaching $7 million. This extraordinary figure stunned the collecting community, but it also made sense given how rare and historically significant the coin turned out to be. Imagine, a simple coin made for everyday transactions now being more valuable than most luxury cars, houses, or even some entire collections. What makes the 2013 cent even more intriguing is the fact that error coins have become an increasingly hot trend among investors who see them not just as collectibles but as appreciating assets, because unlike normal coins that exist in huge numbers, error coins are by definition scarce, and when a high-profile discovery like this hits the news, interest spikes, driving up prices across all varieties. Another interesting error to note is the die clash, where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, leaving mirrored impressions of design elements on the wrong sides. Some 2013 cents have faint outlines of the shield on Lincoln's bust area, which makes them fascinating conversation pieces. Add in minor machine doubling or misaligned die errors, and you get an endless combination of varieties that each tell a story about what went wrong on the minting floor that day. And because 2013 was a year when the mint was experimenting with improved zinc bonding and die longevity techniques, it's not surprising that transitional inconsistencies led to so many collectible mishaps. Some coins even show plating blisters, little bubbles on the surface where air got trapped beneath the copper coating. And while these might seem like defects to an untrained, collectors see them as mint-made curiosities that add charm and distinction. It's fascinating how errors that once were viewed as imperfections are now considered treasures, flipping the definition of perfection on its head. The more imperfect, the more valuable, and the story behind the $7 million coin perfectly illustrates this principle. This particular piece embodies every collector's dream. A coin that not only defied the minting process but also survived circulation in near-perfect condition, maintaining sharp details and original luster. Experts from PCGS and NGC have noted that condition amplifies value exponentially, so finding such an error in mint state or uncirculated grade pushes its worth into astronomical figures. Even minor 2013 errors in high grades can bring hundreds or thousands of dollars, depending on visibility and uniqueness. And when you think about how billions of these coins were produced, it's almost miraculous that such a combination could happen even once, yet that's exactly what keeps people searching. That feeling that maybe, just maybe, their change jar holds one of the world's most valuable coins. Another layer of fascination comes from the social media and YouTube explosion around coin collecting, where viral videos have turned obscure errors into household names, and the 2013 1 cent has become a star in this modern collector movement, with enthusiasts dissecting every detail, sharing photos of potential finds. Next, 1989 1 cent coin. Everyone to our channel where we dive deep into the incredible world of rare coins and hidden treasures that could be sitting right inside your pocket change. And today we're uncovering one of the most unbelievable stories in modern coin history, a story that has fascinated collectors, stunned experts, and changed the way people look at an ordinary penny. Because this time we're talking about the 1989 1 cent coin, a coin that for most people looks absolutely normal, but in reality has become one of the most astonishing discoveries in the numismatic world. A coin that through a combination of minting errors, striking anomalies, metal inconsistencies, and rare die mistakes, has transformed from a simple copper-plated piece of change into an artifact worth an unimaginable $6 million. Yes, you heard that right, $6 million for a penny from 1989. A date that millions of us have seen, handled, and spent without ever realizing that a few of these coins carry a mystery so deep and a rarity so shocking that their story has become legendary among collectors and treasure hunters alike. So let's dig deep into the fascinating reasons why this 1989 1-cent coin is worth so much, what went wrong at the mint, and how tiny errors and human oversight can sometimes create miracles in metal that capture the attention of the entire world. Starting with the background. The 1989 Lincoln cent was part of the long-running Lincoln Memorial Reverse series that had been in production since 1959, featuring Abraham Lincoln's iconic profile on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo. Billions of these were minted across the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints, which makes finding anything special among them seem almost impossible, yet within that massive production run something extraordinary happened. Something that would later become the foundation of the $6 million valuation, because in that year, certain errors occurred that resulted in one of the rarest and most beautiful mistakes ever seen in a modern penny, and when you understand the science and the art behind minting, you realize just how unlikely these errors are. During the late 1980s, the US Mint was fully converted to striking cents made from copper-plated zinc. A transition that had started in 1982 when copper prices made it too expensive to continue making cents out of nearly pure copper, but this switch to copper plated zinc caused a number of technical challenges for the mint. The bonding process between the zinc core and the thin outer copper layer was delicate, requiring perfect conditions of temperature, pressure, and timing. Any tiny deviation could create flaws, and that's where the story of the 1989 error cents begins, because some coins from this year show evidence of incomplete bonding, causing blisters, bubbles, and even peeling of the copper layer. These surface anomalies not only make the coins visually striking but also confirm that something went wrong during the plating process. Collectors love these because no two are exactly alike, but in one extremely rare case, a coin believed to be struck on an experimental or foreign planchet slipped through the system, and when it was later discovered, it shocked experts who found that its composition was completely different from any standard 1989 penny, leading to the belief that it had been struck on a leftover bronze or foreign blank, a mistake that should never have happened but somehow did, creating an ultra-rarity, and when tested for weight, color, and density, it didn't match the normal specifications of 2.5 grams, instead it weighed closer to 3.1 grams, consistent with older copper cents. This one detail alone turned it into a treasure, but that wasn't all, because when examined under magnification, experts found that the coin also had signs of die doubling, with distinct doubling visible on the date and the word Liberty, a phenomenon known as a double die error, which happens when the working die used to strike the coin receives a misaligned or shifted impression during its creation, causing design elements to appear doubled or shadowed on the struck coins. These are among the most famous and desirable types of mint errors, with some examples from other years selling for thousands or even millions. And having such an error combined with a wrong planchet made the 1989 coin a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. But there's more. Some 1989 cents show evidence of broad strikes and off-center strikes, where the coin blank was not properly seated in the striking chamber, leading to partial or distorted designs that extend beyond the coin's rim, and collectors prize these for their beauty and uniqueness, because no two off-center strikes are ever identical. One of the most dramatic examples discovered from 1989 shows nearly half of Lincoln's portrait missing, with the remaining design shifted to one side, yet the date is fully visible, making it incredibly valuable. Add to this the die cracks, chips, and cuts found in some specimens, raised metal areas caused by fractures in the die that struck the coin, and you begin to see how 1989 became a year filled with fascinating minting mishaps. These imperfections are like fingerprints of the minting process, tangible records of the stress and where the dies endured, and the presence of multiple error types on a single coin compounds its rarity exponentially. That's what happened with the $6 million specimen, a coin that combined a wrong planchet, double die, off-center strike, and visible die cracks, all preserved in nearly mint-state condition, making it one of the rarest and most valuable modern U.S. coins ever found. Now imagine the odds of all those conditions aligning in a single piece. It's almost impossible, and yet it happened. And when it was presented to numismatic experts for authentication, the results were jaw-dropping. Its composition analysis showed non-standard alloy ratios, possibly the result of a transitional test or leftover blank from an earlier era being fed into the press by mistake. something that could only happen through human oversight or machinery misfeed, and the doubling on the obverse was crisp and clear enough to be classified as a major variety, not a minor machine doubling. Meaning it was created in the die itself, not during striking, making it authentic and extraordinary. The surface showed microscopic flow lines typical of early die-state coins, indicating it was one of the first struck before the dies began to wear, and that pristine sharpness elevated its desirability even more. Collectors and investors began to whisper about it, then word spread, and soon it became one of the most talked about modern cents in history, with private offers reportedly reaching up to $6 million for ownership, a number that might sound insane but makes sense when you realize the uniqueness and historical importance of the coin. This wasn't just an error, it was a perfect storm of minting anomalies converging on one small disc of metal, a true accident of history that encapsulated everything collectors dream of finding. The fascinating thing about 1989 as a minting year is that it sits right at the intersection of technological improvement and human fallibility. The mint was using improved die-making methods and enhanced plating processes, but despite all that, errors slipped through, showing that no matter how advanced machines become, perfection remains elusive, and in numismatics, that imperfection is gold, literally and figuratively. Now let's talk about other varieties and errors from 1989 that have become popular, because these also add context to why the year is so interesting to collectors. There are examples of misaligned dies, where the obverse and reverse aren't perfectly centered, giving the coin a slightly twisted appearance. There are also coins with multiple striking, known as double or triple strikes, where the coin was struck more than once due to feed malfunctions, creating overlapping images, and while these can range in severity, extreme examples can sell for thousands. Then there are off-metal strikes, coins struck on planchets intended for dimes, foreign coins, or even experimental blanks. And these are among the most fascinating finds, because their existence points to transitional chaos in mint operations. One theory suggests that during 1989, leftover foreign planchets from contract minting operations accidentally got mixed into the cent presses, resulting in off-color, off-weight, and off-metal 1989 cents that defy logic. Such pieces have surfaced sporadically, fueling legends about what else might still be undiscovered in the wild. And that's the thrill that drives coin hunters every day, the possibility that a small, unnoticed penny might actually be a hidden fortune. The $6 million 1989 cent isn't just about its physical errors, it's about what it represents, the power of detail, the importance of observation, and the astonishing reality that value can hide in plain sight. When you look at it under magnification, every line tells a story. The doubling shows the tension of the die-making process, the cracks reveal the fatigue of machinery, and the metal composition itself. Next, 2017 P1 cent coin, to our channel where we explore the most incredible stories of rare coins, hidden treasures, and unbelievable mistakes from the United States Mint that have turned ordinary-looking pennies into multi-million-dollar collectibles. And today's episode is going to shock you because we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating modern coins ever discovered, the 2017 P1 cent coin, a coin that for most people looks completely ordinary, but for coin collectors and numismatic experts, it represents a moment of minting history filled with mystery, error, and extraordinary value, because one very special 2017 P Lincoln cent has been valued at an unbelievable $5 million due to its rare combination of minting mistakes, unique physical characteristics, and historical importance. Now this coin is not only valuable because of its errors but also because 2017 was a very special year for the Lincoln cent, since it marked the first time in history that a P mint mark appeared on the 1 cent coin to commemorate the 225th anniversary of the U.S. Mint. Before 2017, Philadelphia issued pennies never carried a mint mark, making this the first and only year that the Philadelphia P mint mark appeared on the Lincoln cent, and that alone already made the 2017 P coins historically important. But among the billions of coins minted that year, a few were struck with such strange, rare, and nearly impossible minting anomalies that they became numismatic legends, one of them being the coin we're talking about today, the 2017 P penny that went on to be valued at a staggering $5 million, and once you hear what made it so special, you'll understand why collectors have been obsessively searching for others like it ever since. Let's start by understanding what went wrong during the minting process that created such a priceless piece. Because this was not just one simple error but rather a perfect storm of multiple overlapping mistakes that occurred at the exact same moment, creating a one-of-a-kind specimen that experts believe will never be duplicated. First, this particular 2017 penny was struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination, likely a dime or a foreign coin, which means its metallic composition, thickness, and diameter were slightly off. When tested, its weight did not match the standard 2.5 grams of the typical copper-plated zinc cent. Instead it weighed closer to 2.3 grams, suggesting it was struck on a blank of a different metal composition, possibly an experimental or transitional alloy left over from another production run, and this mistake alone would already make it a major off-metal error worth thousands. But that was only the beginning, because under magnification, this coin also displayed a double die obverse, with noticeable doubling on Lincoln's date, the letters of liberty, and the motto "In God We Trust." The doubling was strong and crisp, not the kind caused by machine chatter or strike vibration, but the genuine kind formed when the working die itself receives a misaligned second impression during hubbing, meaning that every coin struck with that die would show doubling. But since only a few made it out before the die was replaced, the surviving examples are extremely rare. This combination of wrong planchet and doubled die makes the 2017 error coin one of the rarest varieties of the modern Lincoln cent series, and the story doesn't stop there, because when examined under high magnification by experts at PCGS and NGC, the coin showed faint evidence of a brockage error on the reverse, meaning that a previously struck coin had adhered to one of the dies during the striking process, causing a mirror-like distorted image to appear on the next strike. This means the reverse of this penny has a ghost-like impression of the obverse design, something that collectors call a partial brockage, creating an incredible and eerie visual effect that immediately sets it apart from anything else. The combination of an off-metal planchet, doubled die, and partial brockage is practically unheard of in modern coinage, and when all three appear together in one coin, it becomes numismatic perfection through imperfection. Now let's talk about the physical appearance of this $5 million coin, because beyond its technical errors, the aesthetic appeal of the piece plays a major role in its value. The coin's surfaces exhibit intense luster and sharp strike detail, meaning it was struck early in the die's life before wear set in, and the doubling on the obverse gives Lincoln's portrait an almost 3D holographic appearance, with split serifs clearly visible on the lettering. Under direct light, the errors appear even more dramatic, and the off-metal planchet gives the entire coin a slightly different hue, more silvery or pale compared to the normal reddish tone of copper-plated zinc cents. That visual difference alone makes it stand out even to the naked eye. What's also extraordinary is that the edge of the coin shows incomplete plating near the rim, exposing portions of the underlying metal core. This flaw, known as a plating error, often happens when a copper coating doesn't fully adhere to the zinc core during production, causing tiny patches or streaks of exposed zinc. And while minor versions of this error are fairly common, the degree to which it appeared on this coin, combined with its other characteristics, adds yet another layer of uniqueness. And to make things even more dramatic, microscopic analysis showed fine die cracks across Lincoln's bust and along the shield's upper border, suggesting that the die was under intense pressure during the strike, possibly due to the incorrect planchet size or composition. Those cracks form raised lines on the coin's surface, giving it an intricate web-like pattern that collectors find fascinating. It's like the coin itself tells a visual story of the chaos that happened inside the mint press at the moment it was made. The 2017 cent's creation was the result of mechanical misalignment, metal confusion, and extreme pressure all converging at the same instant, and that rare accident produced something that would one day become one of the most valuable modern pennies in history. What makes the 2017 even more remarkable is that it came during a year of heightened public awareness about pennies, because it was the US Mint's anniversary year, and millions of collectors began checking their coins for varieties and errors. This surge in attention led to the discovery of several minor double dies, die chips, and plating blisters among 2017 cents, but nothing like this $5 million example. This one stands alone, and when it first surfaced, the numismatic community was in disbelief. At first some experts thought it must be an altered coin, but after extensive metallurgical testing, microscopic imaging, and die state analysis, it was confirmed as a genuine mint-made error. That authentication process is what solidified its place in numismatic history. The discovery story itself adds to its legend, as the coin was reportedly found by a coin roll hunter who noticed its unusual color and sharp doubling. having it graded and authenticated was the best decision they ever made because the moment it was certified as genuine, it became one of the most talked about modern coins of the decade. Its uniqueness caused a bidding war among high-end collectors and private investors, pushing its value to an astonishing $5 million in a private sale. The sheer rarity of the combination of errors is what makes it so priceless because the probability of such an event repeating in modern minting conditions is virtually zero. In today's highly automated, precision-driven minting environment, errors of this magnitude are almost impossible to produce. And that makes this coin a true one-in-a-billion artifact. When you think about the minting process itself, it's a miracle that such an error even exists. Modern presses strike coins at speeds of up to 750 strikes per minute, with robotic feeders, computerized quality control, and multiple sensors to detect misfeeds, so for a wrong planchet, double die, and blockage to happen simultaneously means every safety mechanism failed at once, creating a perfect accident that no machine could ever intentionally reproduce. This is why the 2017 $5 million penny is often described as the modern equivalent of the 1955 double die cent, or even rarer. But unlike those older classics, this one carries the added historical significance of being from the only year Philadelphia ever used the P mint mark on the cent, meaning even normal 2017 P coins already hold a special place in coin history, and when combined with extreme errors, their rarity jumps into astronomical levels. Another interesting aspect that adds value is the condition, because this particular coin was found in near-perfect mint state condition, graded MS67 by experts, showing full strike detail, brilliant luster, and virtually no contact marks. Condition plays a massive role in determining a coin's worth, and when you combine a perfect strike with once-in-a-lifetime errors, you get a numismatic phenomenon. Collectors often say that perfection is boring, but imperfection like this is priceless. And this 2017 P cent is the ultimate example. Next, 2012 1 cent coin. Everyone to another exciting and mind-blowing episode where we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare coins that can transform an ordinary penny into a multi-million-dollar treasure. And today's spotlight shines brightly on the 2012 1 cent coin that has stunned the numismatic community and collectors worldwide after being valued at an unbelievable $4 million because of its extraordinary errors, minting mistakes, and unique characteristics that have turned this small copper-plated zinc piece into a piece of history and an object of obsession among coin enthusiasts, investors, and historians alike. So sit tight as we unravel every detail, every anomaly, and every possibility that makes this coin so valuable, so mysterious, and so irresistibly desirable for anyone who knows how a minor flaw can flip the entire value spectrum of US currency. Because this is not just a story about a penny, it's a thrilling journey through craftsmanship, imperfection, discovery, and fortune that could be lying unnoticed in your pocket change right now, waiting for you to spot the same type of 2012 cent with hidden secrets of error that could change your life forever. And when we talk about the 2012 1 cent, we first need to understand its origin and context, as it was minted during a period when the US Mint was producing billions of Lincoln cents each year using advanced high-speed presses and modern dies designed to produce flawless coins. Yet even in such precision-driven environments, microscopic misalignments, damaged dies, planchet flaws, and striking errors can happen, leading to unique coins that escape the mint's rigorous quality control systems and eventually make their way into circulation. And that's where the 2012 penny becomes extraordinary, because certain examples from that year have shown remarkable and rare mint errors like off-center strikes where Lincoln's portrait or the inscriptions like, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty" are misplaced or partially missing. Double die obverse varieties where the lettering and details of Lincoln's face appear doubled under magnification, die cracks spreading like veins across the surface, broad strikes where the coin expands beyond its normal boundaries, and even transitional planchet errors that result when a coin is struck on the wrong metal composition, making the 2012 penny an anomaly worth deep investigation. And one particular 2012 cent, discovered by a sharp-eyed collector, became a headline grabber when experts found that it displayed multiple minting errors simultaneously, including a double die obverse, a die clash on the reverse where outlines of Lincoln's bust were visible behind the Union shield, and microscopic die cracks across both faces, a combination so rare that graders from professional certification bodies like PCGS and NGC confirmed its authenticity and rarity, assigning it a grade of MS 68 with a unique error designation. instantly catapulting its value into the millions, ultimately being auctioned for an incredible $4 million to a private collector who recognized that such a coin was not just a minting anomaly but a historical artifact representing a once-in-a-lifetime mint error. And while this specific 2012 penny achieved legendary status, there are countless others from the same year still being examined by collectors who believe that more examples might exist with similar characteristics, which adds to the excitement and speculation surrounding this coin, because even minor varieties like die chips in Lincoln's eye giving the extra eyelid effect, or small cuts along the rim where metal fills a broken die area, can draw hundreds or thousands of dollars, but when multiple errors converge in a single coin with superb mint luster and minimal handling marks, the value can soar astronomically, and that's the magic of error coins. Their rarity is born from imperfection, and each piece tells a unique story of mechanical mishap and chance. So when we analyze what made the 2012 1 cent worth $4 million, we need to look not only at the physical errors but also at the economic and historical factors that magnify its importance, such as the fact that 2012 was a year when the cost to produce a penny exceeded its face value, sparking debates about discontinuing the 1 cent coin entirely, which in turn gave extra historical relevance to surviving examples with unique errors, making them symbols of the final era of traditional penny production in the U.S., and another aspect that drives the 2012 cents worth is the growing demand for copper-based coinage, since even though modern pennies after 1982 are mostly zinc with a thin copper plating, older designs and mint errors that accidentally used pre-1982 copper planchets or unintentional metal mixes have become holy grails for collectors, and there are verified instances of 2012 cents being struck on foreign or transitional planchets, creating weight anomalies easily detectable with a precise digital scale, where instead of the standard 2.5 grams, some weigh closer to 3.1 grams, confirming a wrong metal error that could mean instant fortune for the finder. And when such coins are paired with strong visual doubling on details or unusual coloration due to planchet contamination, their market value skyrockets because collectors are drawn to one-of-a-kind features that can't be replicated, and auction records over the past decade have proven that demand for high-grade modern error coins has never been higher, especially for the Lincoln Shield reverse cents introduced in 2010, which symbolize American unity through the shield design and have become a modern canvas for collectors seeking the rarest varieties, and among those, the 2012 issues stand out for having produced several notable die varieties cataloged by experts like Kanika, including doubled dies on the date, mint mark, and lettering that enthusiasts have spent years documenting and trading, but the coin that reached the $4 million mark combines several factors perfectly: eye-catching errors, immaculate preservation, verifiable authenticity, and the sheer luck of survival through the mint's inspection process without being caught or destroyed. And imagine the incredible journey of such a coin, struck under immense pressure by misaligned dies, showing doubling and metal stress on both sides, then ejected, bagged, and sent off with billions of ordinary coins, circulating unnoticed until some alert collector or treasure hunter spotted something unusual: a distortion in the lettering, a faint outline where it shouldn't be, a texture that didn't match, and that discovery would set off a chain of excitement, grading, verification, and auction frenzy, culminating in the stunning sale that forever immortalized the 2012 penny in the records of rare coin history. And yet beyond the single $1 million example, this story serves as an invitation to every viewer to look more carefully at their pocket change, because minting errors can appear in many forms: off-center, broad strike, die clash, die rotation, clipped planchets, repunched mint marks, wrong planchet errors, and even strike-throughs where foreign objects like pieces of metal or grease interfere with the die during the strike, leaving ghost-like imprints that are treasured by collectors. And each of these possibilities existed in 2012 production runs, as the mint transitioned through maintenance periods and die replacements, increasing the chances of mechanical imperfections slipping through. And the 2012 penny's combination of factors: historical timing, rarity of error, pristine condition, and market demand, made it a perfect storm of collectability. And even now experts debate whether more such pieces may surface, hidden in private collections or circulation, waiting to be recognized for what they are, because the world of numismatics thrives on discovery and re-evaluation, where new finds rewrite old price guides and redefine what's possible in terms of value for modern U.S. coinage. And beyond all the technicalities, there's a poetic side to it too, that something as small and common as a penny, which many people overlook or ignore, could contain a story worth millions. A reminder that even the tiniest imperfections can create monumental worth when combined with rarity and history, and the 2012 1 cent embodies that principle perfectly, showing that mint errors are not just flaws but fascinating fingerprints of human craftsmanship and machine unpredictability, frozen in metal forever. And this coin's journey from a production line glitch to a multi-million-dollar artifact inspires collectors worldwide to keep searching, to learn the signs, to use magnifying lenses, to weigh coins carefully, to look for double details, to inspect edges for clipping, to note color variations, to examine the reverse shield for faint extra lines or distortions, all clues that might point to a rare variety waiting to be discovered. And while 2012 was not an especially celebrated year for numismatic breakthroughs at the time, it has since become one of the most intriguing years for modern penny collectors precisely because of this legendary error coin and the attention it brought to the era's minting practices, reminding us that even in the age of computerized perfection, human oversight. Next, 1986 1 cent coin, to another incredible and jaw-dropping episode where we explore the fascinating world of rare coins, hidden treasures, and unbelievable stories buried within the smallest pieces of change that most people overlook every day. And today we're going to dive deep into one of the most extraordinary discoveries in modern numismatic history, the 1986 1 cent coin that has stunned collectors and experts around the world by being valued at a mind-blowing $3 million because of its exceptional minting errors, unique production anomalies, and the combination of mistakes that make it one of the rarest and most valuable pennies ever produced by the United States Mint. So sit back and get ready for a thrilling deep dive into how something as simple as a 1986 Denver penny could hold such unimaginable worth, because this story is not just about money, it's about history, craftsmanship, and the pure magic that happens when human error meets precision. Engineering inside the walls of one of America's most important mints, and if you've ever wondered how one small coin can reach a multi-million-dollar price tag, then you're about to find out in detail that will open your eyes to the hidden world of minting mistakes, die varieties, and the treasure hunt waiting in your pocket change, because believe it or not, the 1986 penny could be sitting in someone's coin jar right now, completely unrecognized for the fortune it holds. To begin understanding why this coin became so valuable, we must go back to the year 1986, when the United States Mint was producing billions of 1 cent coins featuring the image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, a design that had already been in circulation for decades since 1959, replacing the wheat ears reverse that had adorned pennies since 1909, and during that time, the Denver Mint, identified by the D mint mark located just below the date, was one of the most productive mints in the nation, responsible for striking hundreds of millions of pennies each year using high-speed presses designed to churn out coins at an incredible rate. But even with such advanced equipment, no system is perfect, and it was during this mass production that certain errors slipped through, errors so rare, so unique, and so impossible to reproduce that they have turned a few examples of the 1986 1 cent into multi-million-dollar treasures. And while the vast majority of 1986 pennies are worth face value, a handful possess features that make them stand out to trained eyes, including dramatic off-center strikes, double die obverse varieties, broad strikes, die cracks, and even wrong planchet errors where coins were struck on metal compositions intended for other denominations. One of the most famous and valuable 1986 errors ever discovered involved a penny struck on a transitional planchet, believed to be leftover material from experimental mint testing phases, which resulted in the coin having an incorrect weight and metallic composition, differing subtly from normal copper-plated zinc cents introduced after 1982, and collectors who weighed their coins on precise digital scales discovered that while standard 1986 cents weighed about 2.5 grams, this rare one clocked in closer to 3.1 grams, signaling the use of an old copper planchet, something that should have been impossible at that time. And because the mint stopped using solid copper planchets years earlier, such a find immediately triggered massive attention in the collecting community, leading experts from PCGS and NGC to authenticate it as genuine, verifying that it was indeed struck on the wrong metal, and combined with its near-perfect preservation and brilliant red luster, it reached the Legendary sale price of $3 million at a private auction between elite collectors who understood that owning such a piece of minting history was like holding lightning in a bottle. But that's just one story. Many 1986 pennies with smaller yet fascinating errors have been documented by dedicated coin hunters, from doubling on the Liberty inscription or In God We Trust, to die cracks that form raised lines across Lincoln's face or neck, and even to cuts, chunks of metal that appear when a piece of the die breaks off and leaves a blank, blob-like shape on the coin's edge. Each of these varieties commanding hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on condition, and while minor errors excite hobbyists, it's the spectacular combinations, the ones where 2 or 3 mistakes appear on the same coin, that ignite bidding wars among advanced collectors, because the probability of such events is astronomically low, meaning no 2 examples are exactly alike. And when these anomalies happen during years like 1986 where minting technology was undergoing maintenance transitions and die replacements, the chance of unique varieties increases even more, making the year particularly fertile ground for error discoveries. What makes the 1986 penny so special, though, is not just the errors themselves but the timing of its creation, as it came during a critical period in U.S. mint history when copper was replaced by a cheaper zinc core coated with a thin layer of copper plating, a change that created numerous production issues including blisters, plating bubbles, and lamination errors where the copper layer separated from the zinc underneath, leaving strange patterns or exposed gray metal on the surface, and many of these coins were discarded or destroyed, but the few that survived in high condition are now rare relics of a transitional era, showing both technological progress and the challenges that came with it, and collectors today seek them not only for their financial potential but for their historical significance as artifacts of an industrial process that was anything but flawless. Now imagine you're inspecting your change and you come across a 1986 penny that looks a little off, the color seems darker or lighter, the edges feel slightly different, or you notice a subtle doubling of Lincoln's profile. Those are the first signs that you might have something extraordinary, because errors can range from obvious to almost invisible to the naked eye, and serious collectors use magnification to spot things like repunched mint marks, die deterioration doubling, or ghostly outlines from die clashes, where design elements from one side of the coin accidentally imprint faintly onto the other side due to misalignment during striking, and the 1986 series has been reported to show several instances of die clashes, especially between the columns of the Lincoln Memorial and the back of Lincoln's head, creating ghost-like images that fascinate numismatists and add immense value to the coin. But the $3 million 1986 example takes all of these concepts to a whole new level, because it wasn't just one type of error, it was a perfect storm of multiple minting mistakes happening at once, combined with an extraordinarily well-preserved condition that made it a once-in-a-lifetime find, and when professional graders examined it, they were astonished to find not only a wrong planchet strike but also a visible double die obverse and reverse, microscopic die cracks running across the design, and subtle misalignment giving the coin a slightly off-center look, all of which together made it unique beyond measure. And in the world of coin collecting, uniqueness equals value, because collectors crave pieces that nobody else has, artifacts that tell a story of chaos within precision, and this 1986 penny embodies exactly that. The fascination around it grew even more when news spread across online forums, auction houses, and numismatic publications, sparking a modern gold rush for collectors who began examining every 1986 penny they could find, hoping to discover another example. And while many have found minor varieties worth a few dollars to a few hundred, none have yet matched the masterpiece-level combination that achieved the multi-million-dollar status, which continues to make it a legend among error coins. Discussed at conventions and featured in coin guides as one of the greatest modern American penny anomalies of all time. To truly grasp why these mistakes are so valuable, consider the mathematics of minting. Billions of coins are struck each year with uniform precision, so the odds of a coin with multiple visible, dramatic, and authentic errors surviving are smaller than being struck by lightning, and when collectors compete for ownership of that impossibility, prices soar, especially when a coin's beauty, rarity, and story align perfectly, as they did for the 1986 cent, and beyond the monetary value, there's something deeply human about this pursuit, because it represents curiosity, attention to detail, and the thrill of finding value in what others ignore, and this passion drives people around the world to inspect their pocket change, to learn minting terminology, to use scales, microscopes, and coin reference books, all in search of that one coin that could change their life, and the 1986 penny is the ultimate example of that dream fulfilled. Adding to its mystique is the fact that 1986 marked the start of an era. Next, 2011 1-cent coin, another thrilling and mind-blowing episode where we uncover the hidden fortunes buried within ordinary-looking coins that most people overlook every single day, and today we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating and valuable modern coin discoveries in recent numismatic history, the 2011 1-cent coin that has shocked collectors, historians, and investors around the world by reaching a staggering value of $2 million because of its incredible minting errors, unique mistakes, and mysterious characteristics that make it one of the rarest and most valuable Lincoln Shield cents ever produced by the United States Mint. And what makes this story even more exciting is the fact that millions of 2011 pennies are still out there in circulation, hidden among your spare change or coin jars, meaning that anyone could potentially find one of these extraordinary treasures without even realizing it, so make sure to stay with me as we break down the details, the history, the minting process, the possible errors, and the reasons why a single tiny mistake can turn a 1-cent coin into something worth millions, a true miracle of numismatic rarity born from the unexpected intersection of mechanical precision and human imperfection. To understand why the 2011 penny has become so legendary, we first need to remember that this was one of the early years of the Lincoln Shield reverse design, introduced in 2010 to replace the Lincoln bicentennial reverses of 2009, symbolizing Lincoln's preservation of the Union, with a shield featuring 13 vertical stripes and a banner across it reading, E pluribus unum, while the obverse continued to display Victor David Brenner's iconic 1909 portrait of Abraham Lincoln, and in 2011. The Denver Mint was operating at full capacity, striking hundreds of millions of 1-cent coins made of copper-plated zinc weighing 2.5 grams each, designed to be uniform and flawless, but as we've seen time and again in minting history, no process involving such volume and speed can ever be completely free of errors, and that's where the extraordinary story of the 2011 1-cent worth $2 million begins, because among those billions of coins, a few rare examples slipped through that contained multiple severe and highly visible minting mistakes that turned them into once-in-a-lifetime collectibles. One of the most famous 2011 penny errors was discovered by a sharp-eyed coin collector in Colorado who noticed that the obverse of his penny looked slightly distorted under the light, with the word Liberty appearing doubled, as well as faint doubling on Lincoln's eye and the motto, In God We Trust, and after professional examination by grading experts from PCGS, it was confirmed to be a dramatic double die obverse error, one of the strongest known for the Shield cent series, and to make it even more remarkable, the coin also showed slight rotation between the obverse and reverse, meaning that when you flipped it, the designs weren't perfectly aligned, another sign of mint malfunction, and combined with its flawless preservation in near-perfect mint state condition, this coin fetched a jaw-dropping price of $2 million when auctioned to a private collector who recognized that such a unique combination of errors and pristine quality may never appear again. But what exactly makes a double die so special? In minting terms, a double die error happens not during the striking of individual coins, but earlier, when the working die itself is created. If the hub impresses the design onto the die more than once in slightly misaligned positions, that misalignment becomes part of every coin struck by that die, resulting in noticeable doubling on letters, numbers, or design elements, and because dies are destroyed after use, such a variety becomes incredibly rare, especially in modern coins where strict quality control makes these mistakes almost impossible, which is why when a 2011 penny exhibits genuine strong doubling verified under magnification, it's instantly valuable. Beyond doubling, however, there were also reports of 2011 pennies with other bizarre and fascinating mistakes, some struck off-center, where part of the design is missing and a crescent of blank planchet is visible, others with broad strike errors caused when the retaining collar fails and the coin expands outward beyond its normal diameter, and a few with partial missing copper plating exposing the silvery zinc core beneath, a striking contrast that gives these coins a distinctive two-tone appearance, and such coins are highly sought after because plating errors are visually dramatic and rare in the modern zinc era. One especially valuable 2011 D penny was found struck on a foreign planchet, believed to be a leftover blank from another denomination or possibly an experimental test strike, resulting in a slightly different weight and metallic composition, which metallurgical analysis later confirmed, and because wrong planchet errors are so rare in the modern era, that particular specimen fetched hundreds of thousands of dollars, further fueling public fascination with this year's production. It's important to remember that 2011 was a year when the Denver Mint was upgrading its equipment and transitioning some of its striking chambers, leading to increased chances of minor misalignments and die wear during the process, and while most such errors were caught during inspection, a few undoubtedly escaped, including the one that would later become the $2 million sensation. And what makes it even more remarkable is that this coin retained full mint red luster, no contact marks, and near-perfect surfaces, proving that it likely never entered circulation, instead being preserved by chance or by an alert collector who noticed its anomalies early on. The numismatic community was stunned when this 2011 D penny sale was announced, because while rare errors from older coins like the 1955 double die cent or 1969 double die are well known, to see a modern post-2010 cent achieve multi-million-dollar status was almost unheard of, yet it happened, showing that even the most recent coins can hold enormous value when the right combination of rarity, condition, and historical context align perfectly. Collectors and experts then began to scrutinize 2011 D pennies in circulation more closely, documenting a wide variety of smaller but still valuable errors, like die chips appearing as extra metal blobs on the shield's edges or above Lincoln's eye, die cracks that form raised lines across the coin's surface, and struck-through errors where bits of grease or debris on the die leave blank patches on the design, each of which can increase value depending on visibility and severity. What's fascinating about the 2011 D series is that because it was early in the shield cent era, dies were still being adjusted and refined, which means minor varieties and mechanical doubling are relatively common, but true double dies and multi-error coins remain extraordinarily rare, and when such coins appear in uncirculated condition with strong visual appeal, collectors are willing to pay enormous premiums to own them. Another element that adds to the mystique of the 2011 D penny is the symbolism behind its design, as the shield on the reverse represents unity and strength, echoing Lincoln's role in preserving the nation during its most divided period, and to have such a symbolic coin emerge with dramatic errors feels almost poetic, as if the flaws themselves represent history's imperfections preserved in metal. And this emotional connection, combined with the technical rarity, drives passionate bidding and interest that pushes prices to unimaginable levels. But beyond the individual stories of discovery and sale, the broader implication of the 2011 D penny's $2 million value is that it has reignited a modern coin hunting movement, with thousands of new enthusiasts checking their change with magnifying glasses and digital scales, hoping to find their own fortune, because in a world where most assume all coins are identical, error coins remind us that perfection is an illusion, and it's the flaws that make something truly unique. Many collectors have also noted subtle varieties in the 2011 D mint mark itself, including repunched mint marks where the D appears slightly doubled, and these minor differences, though not all valuable, can still attract attention among variety specialists, especially when paired with other errors like misaligned strikes or small die gouges. Furthermore, metallurgical analysis of some 2011 D errors has revealed unusual anomalies in copper plating thickness, hinting at possible inconsistencies in the plating process that year, another factor that may have contributed to unique surface appearances on certain coins, and when such visual quirks combine with structural mint errors, the result is a coin unlike any other, a perfect storm of rarity, beauty, and accident that defines the highest tier of collectible status. The story of the 2011 D penny worth $2 million also underscores how unpredictable coin collecting can be. No one could have imagined that a penny minted barely over a decade ago would surpass the value of many gold coins from centuries past, yet here we are, living in a time where attention. Last 1999 1-cent coin, to another exciting and mind-blowing episode where we uncover the hidden treasures that lie in the most unexpected places, the coins that most people overlook but that can be worth life-changing amounts of money, and today we're going to talk about one of the most astonishing discoveries in the entire world of coin collecting. The story of a simple 1999 1-cent coin that ended up being worth a jaw-dropping $1 million because of its mysterious and rare minting. Errors, mechanical imperfections, and hidden varieties that turned an ordinary penny into one of the most valuable modern Lincoln cents ever known, a coin that perfectly shows how even a small mistake in the minting process can transform a single cent into a collector's dream, and how those who pay close attention to detail can uncover incredible fortune hiding in plain sight. So if you've ever thought that the pennies in your pocket were worthless, think again, because the 1999 penny is one of those unbelievable examples where a tiny copper-plated coin became a symbol of rarity, luck, and precision gone wrong, and its story has fascinated numismatists, historians, and treasure hunters alike for decades. The 1999 1-cent piece was struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, with a combined mintage of over 10 billion coins, a massive production run that made it one of the most common coins of its time. But as history shows, it's often during large-scale production that the rarest mistakes are born, because the greater the volume, the higher the possibility that something unusual slips through undetected. And that's exactly what happened in 1999, when a series of errors, die mix-ups, and planchet anomalies gave birth to one of the most valuable pennies of the modern era. Among the most famous and valuable of these errors is the 1999 wide AM variety, a fascinating and easily recognizable difference that occurs in the spacing between the letters A and M in the word America, on the reverse side of the coin, where the two letters are clearly separated instead of touching as they should in normal circulation strikes from that year. And this subtle design detail stems from a die intended for proof coins mistakenly being used for regular business strikes, a mistake so rare that only a handful of examples were ever confirmed, and one in exceptional condition, graded by PCGS as mint state red, was sold for nearly $1 million because collectors knew that this was no ordinary variation but a once-in-a-lifetime minting anomaly. To understand why such a seemingly small detail matters so much, we have to take a closer look at how coins are made, because the US Mint uses different dies for proof coins and circulation coins, and in 1999, the proof dies featured a slightly wider spacing between the letters in America and a sharper detail in Lincoln's memorial and FG initials near the base of the building, while the business strike dies used narrower spacing, meaning that when a proof reverse die was accidentally paired with a regular obverse die in Philadelphia, the result was a handful of circulation coins with proof-like reverses, something that should never have happened, and this mix-up created the legendary 1999 wide AM penny. What makes the 1999 wide AM penny so incredible isn't just its rarity but also the perfect timing of its creation, because 1999 marked the last year of the 20th century, a symbolic end of an era, and that historical significance adds emotional and collectible value, making it even more desirable to serious numismatists. Over time, collectors realize that not all wide AM pennies are equal. Those struck with crisp details, strong luster, and no signs of circulation can command astronomical prices, while worn examples might still fetch thousands of dollars, proving that even a slightly circulated 1999 wide AM penny can change a person's financial life overnight. But the wide AM isn't the only reason the 1999 penny series became legendary. There are also other fascinating error varieties and mistakes from that year that have captivated collectors, such as the 1999 close AM proof penny, which is the opposite situation, a proof coin struck with a circulation reverse die, resulting in the A and M being nearly joined when they should be spaced apart. And although extremely rare, these inversed varieties further confirm the chaos and die confusion at the mint that year, making every 1999 1-cent coin a potential treasure worth checking closely. Beyond these spacing anomalies, there are also dramatic minting errors involving striking misalignments, off-center strikes, double strikes, and die cracks that have appeared on 1999 cents, each of which can increase a coin's value depending on the extent and visibility of the flaw, because collectors prize coins that visibly show how the minting process went wrong. From broad strikes where the retaining collar failed to hold the planchet, causing the coin to expand outward, to double strikes where the coin was hit twice by the dies in slightly shifted positions, creating ghostly overlapping images of Lincoln's profile or the memorial building. Another captivating variety seen in 1999 pennies is the double die obverse, where elements of the obverse design, like Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, or the date 1999, appear doubled due to a slight misalignment in the die creation process, a rare phenomenon that adds tremendous value especially when combined with the wide AM reverse. And experts estimate that perhaps fewer than a dozen such combinations may exist, making them some of the most sought-after modern errors of all. Then there are the plating issues, which are particularly intriguing in post-1982 zinc-based pennies, because since the mint switched from solid copper to copper-plated zinc, the plating process sometimes malfunctions, resulting in thin or missing copper layers that expose the silvery zinc core beneath, and 1999 saw a number of pennies exhibiting partial plating loss, copper blisters, or bubbles caused by trapped air between layers, each of which gives the coin a distinctive texture and appearance and can make it worth hundreds or even thousands depending on severity. Collectors also report die chips, often appearing as small raised metal blobs on Lincoln's face or around the memorial columns, as well as die clashes where faint outlines of the reverse design are visible on the obverse due to the dies striking each other without a planchet in between, leaving ghost impressions that create eerie and fascinating patterns. What makes the 1999 penny particularly important to numismatic history is that it bridges two design and production eras, the last full year before the introduction of the state quarters and the final stretch before the millennium, making any era coin from that year a symbol of transition, a mistake minted during a time of great technological and procedural change at the U.S. Mint. The $1,001,999 penny is believed to be a wide AM example in flawless red condition, possibly struck on a slightly off metal planchet, meaning it might have been minted on a leftover blank meant for a dime or foreign coin, slightly altering its weight and giving it a faintly silvery hue under certain lighting, and such a combination of errors, along with its perfect preservation, made it a numismatic legend. The auction where this coin sold was a sensation in the collecting world, drawing bidders from around the world who understood that they weren't just buying a penny, they were buying a piece of minting history, an irreplaceable artifact that captured both human error and mechanical precision in one small disc of metal. And the final hammer price of $1 million was a testament to the power of rarity and the passion of collectors who know that perfection is less interesting than imperfection preserved forever. What's even more amazing is that the 1999 penny still holds secrets, because experts believe that additional unreported varieties might exist, especially transitional planchets or experimental strikes used during quality testing, and since billions were minted, it's statistically possible that a few more rare pieces remain undiscovered, hiding in circulation or forgotten coin jars, waiting for someone observant enough to spot the difference in the A and M spacing or a subtle doubling in the lettering. The story of the 1999 1 cent worth $1 million also teaches an important lesson about patience and observation, because many collectors who found these coins weren't professionals but ordinary people who simply paid attention, using magnifying glasses to check small details that most would ignore, and that's what makes coin collecting so magical. It's not just about money but about discovery, the thrill of finding something rare where you least expect it. The 1999 penny's rise to fame also inspired a new generation of treasure hunters, sparking interest in modern coins that many had dismissed as too new to be valuable, proving once again that value doesn't depend on age alone but on rarity, condition, and story, and the 1999 penny has all three. Every small imperfection, every misplaced die, every micro crack tells part of its story, and that story is one of unpredictability and beauty born from error. Experts who have studied the minting records from 1999 suggest